Well, hello there, everybody, and this is Auntie. Let's talk Special Forces, shall we? Season 4, episode 5, I believe. I just can't keep up. Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, yes, we shall. A sweet old auntie. Thank you, subscribers, and my nieces and nephews, and all the y'all who have been here through the long haul. Shall we get into it? Oh, yes, we shall. It's time for Auntie Advice. Sweet old. It's time for Auntie Advice. Oh, yeah. It's time for Auntie Special Forces season. Wait a minute. Hold on. I gotta check my notes. Season 4, episode 4, mindset. Hi, everybody, and I am Auntie of Auntie's Advice. Welcome. If this is your first time being here, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And to all of my new subscribers, thank you all so much for hitting that subscribe button and joining this family. To all of my nieces, nephews, and my members who have been here with me for the long haul, thank you all so much for your continued support. I'm a little discombobulated because, of course, you all know I take aqua aerobics, and when you see my hair up like this, that is because I am like really like straight running here from the pool. So but I am seeing changes, and I would suggest if you want to get some pounds off and you want to do a low impact where you know you're not hurting your bones and all sore and stuff like that, try our aqua aerobics class. They are fantastic. I be huffing and puffing about to blow the house down. But anyway, I am here because yesterday I did I did 3 videos back to back. I'm also going to be, make sure you have your notification bells on, because I'm going to be talking about this mess that happened with Marvin Winans. I am so sick of these church people. I don't know what to do. People be making excuses for stuff, but stick around, make sure your notification bells on, because if it's something you interested in, we definitely going to be talking about it. Welcome back, Ray Della. So anyway, let me bring my notes up for Special Forces. So in this episode of Special Forces, the remaining recruits started their challenge of repelling off of a dam. Now, one of the things that I fear maybe equal to water is height. I get discombobulated. I can't think. And so when they're doing these challenges, right, I'm right there with them. You want to give me coordinates. So the recruits had to rappel down this dam. And they were giving coordinates before they went down. They had to rappel, you know, with this thing on their waist and go down and remember Bravo Alpha 7494. I ain't gonna remember that. Like, can I write it down? You got a pen where I can write it on my hand? There are some members of the in the recruits, right, that don't have like a big fear of height, and even they were afraid to do it, right. One of the downsides that I see to this, right, is number one, there's no women And I think I've said that before. There are no women staff, at least as far as what we can see. It's all men screaming in your face. And they have taken out to me that element that a woman would bring to this. Y'all let me know downtown in the chat if y'all feel the same way. But there's a certain element that women bring to every situation, to every atmosphere, to every office space. Women bring that element, and it's so missing in this. And I can understand that they up in those men faces, right? But when they in the women faces, it's like you can't relate to anything. And if it was a woman, and women can be hard too. Don't even try, because I got military all up and down and through my family. But I just think that the dynamics of this needs to change, where there are some women who are actually on the staff and showing these women that a woman has done this, a woman can do this, and you can do this too. It's always good in any learning situation that you have someone and something that you can relate to. And you know, like if I'm in the military and I got a man screaming in my face, okay. But I think that they need to bring a woman's element there. That's just one of the things that I am observing through this, right? Um, yeah. So anyway, they had to repel down the wall and all of that. And again, a lot of them had different fear factors and stuff like that. Like Nick Young completed the descent, right, but he failed to recall the coordinates correctly. Ravi Patel succeeded both the physical and the memory challenge of this. But he be having jokey. Andrew E struggled with the repel, and although he reached the bottom, his coordinates recall was off by one character, which absolutely weighed on him. And then after that, the next recruits were split into teams for this tunnel underground infiltration task. They had to navigate through these tight tunnels. Oh my God. I said, you know what? I wouldn't even fit through that. They would have came down there and rescued me themselves, and they would have apologized. Yeah, they would have. They would have apologized. Auntie, we so sorry. We know you a fat ass, and we apologize in advance for not accommodating overweight people. Because I'm telling you right now, when I looked at that, right, y'all, being in a closed space, period. And we talk about, I gotta crawl, like they had to crawl through it. The spaces were narrow. When they got to the end of this particular course, right? So they had, okay. So first they was coming down. They had to run up this mountain. They had to run down the mountain, right? And of course, they in enemy territory, so they got bombs and all kinds of stuff going on, right? Because they're simulating war. And Tamika said, I would have been stuck like Chuck. Me too. So they got to come down this thing. And then after they, get down there, they have to crawl through this space. And they said it's a half a mile. They crawl through this space. They get to another part. They got crawled through that. Then after they get to that spot, they have to turn around underground, not above ground. They have to turn around and go through this water. Just, oh my God. So they in the water and they got a crate over top of them, and they've got to pull themselves through this daggone water, right? Oh my God. And the only thing that's really sticking out of the water is their heads. Then they have to crawl through another portion of it, right? And it's a on purpose dead end. And it's three people at a time, and they got a commander, right? So the first crew that went through was Gia. Oh my God, I can't think of the other woman's name. But what was the guy's name? Johnny Manziel. Now, Johnny was leading it. He got to the end. Gia, before she went down, she was having a panic attack. And they was like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? So, they hollering in your face. You all in this dirt. They got dirt all in their mouths and they breathing dirt. They ain't give them nothing to like any mask or oxygen mask, nothing. Like they just straight raw. Oh my God. They raw going through there, right? And Johnny Manziel was in the front. He was doing good, right? Considering they don't get training for this, which is another thing that I think that these people need to have some kind of training instead of just having somebody barking orders. Anyway, they signed up for it. I daggone show wouldn't, but they signed up for it. So Johnny Manziel, once he gets to the part of it, right, where he's at the dead end, he done tied and through. He said that he has a tendency of backing out of things and giving up and stuff like that, right? And so, he just can't even think. And so he is like, I can't do it. So they like, what? No, you could do this. What are you saying? He was like, I'm done. It was like, you want to give your back. So each one of them are identified by a number. And they have like a little, thing that's on their arm. So when you take that off, you done. So you want to give it up? You want to give it up? He took it off and said he was done. He beat himself up for it afterwards, right? Because number one, when anybody up on the thing, it's counted. Everybody loses, right? Your whole team. If one person decides that they can't complete it, or one person doesn't complete the task correctly, the whole team suffers for it, right? And so what they was all supposed to do was burrow through these tunnels and stuff like that, and then throw a grenade at a tower. Their grenade never got torn, but Gia and the young lady, embraced each other because Gia was like, I was just about to have a panic attack. But this lady was really like, like really rooting her on and just basically telling Gia, you could do this. You could do this, boo. You could do this. I gotta fix that because that makes me look like I'm crooked. My shirt look crooked. And so I just was like, oh my God, like I would just die. Most of the other teams made it through as well, right? This was something that they could do in the tunnels. But Johnny Manziel, when he got stuck, he was just done, and he voluntarily withdrew himself. There also was a moment where the director staff confronted Ravi Patel about his attitude and his joking manner and him not being serious, when about the task and stuff like that. And it was interesting because he was, talking and just giving a little bit about this cell. So of course we all know when they go back there with them, they put this hood over them because the of the place where they're doing these interrogations or whatever you want to call them is undisclosed, and they're not supposed to know where it is. So when they first asked him, like basically what was wrong with you, because they had asked the main staff guy, who was basically getting on his nerve, and he said Patel, like flat out. And so when he went back there with him, their thing is they want to really see, they know why you there. But they don't really know what is really driving you to be there, because ain't no way in the world I would volunteer for no bullshit like this, okay? Unless I like really had some serious demons that I needed to deal with. I had a conversation, and I'm gonna be transparent. But I had a conversation with my daughter today because I noticed that um I'm very so just by nature, right? I'm an introverted person. And I know it don't seem like it, but I am. And being home for years, like, has changed me. And I noticed that since I've been in the class, this particular class, for some reason, it's coming out in this class. I discovered that I have, or what I appear to think I have, and what my daughter kind of diagnosed me as, I have now developed social anxieties. And I think that the social anxiety has come from avoiding people. I didn't realize it until today that I just don't want people in my face. I'm friendly, right? I'm a high, and I'm gonna do everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm not gonna do anything above that. I'm not gonna join in any conversations. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. Like, I'm packing and I'm out of there probably in 5 minutes. And but I'm noticing it, and I think it has been because with the cove, okay, we ain't gonna say the rest of it, having to wear a mask, being isolated in the home. Um, I'm gonna have to sit with myself, right, and journal it. But just, you know, my daughter was like, Mom, a lot of people, because of the cove, the demic, let me say the demic, have social anxieties now. Um, for a long time, and even still now, I'll wear a mask when I'm in social environments. When I have to go to something or do something, I have anxiety if I don't have it on. If I have a sniffle, one sniffle, I think I got something. And I notice that I'm just absolutely not as sociable as I used to be, even being an introverted person. Most people who meet me don't think I'm introverted, right? Because I live in an extroverted world. I didn't discover that I was an introvert until later on in life, right? Because I grew up in a home with, parents and siblings and stuff like that. So I was always forced to be an extroverted person, because who grows up with all those brothers and sisters and be introverted? So it wasn't until later on that I discovered it. But I just was like, okay, I absolutely have social anxieties. And so when I keep listening to the different people and the things that they have gone through in their life, it's considered, and especially Patel, they asked him, what was the hardest thing that he's ever had to deal with. And he said that he and his wife had a baby, and that the baby died 5 days after birth. And he was saying that was very hard, especially, taxing on his wife. I don't know if she had a vaginal birth or a C-section, but he was like, it was a lot on his wife. And they already had a child whose school was across the street from the hospital. And he said that, they went over and they picked the little girl up from school so that she could see her sibling, but the sibling was deceased. And so he masked, or has learned to mask, through humor. And I was thinking to myself today, what have I masked, right? Or what did the mask do to me? If that makes sense. Because I don't want you in my face, and I don't want to be in your face. And I watch the ladies as they hang out after class. And I be thinking, golly, do I want to hang out with them? Do I just want to see what they doing? So I understand how you may appear one thing to people on the outside, right? But his behavior, the black football player behavior, Manziel behavior, like everybody, what you see is not always what you get. Let me just say that. And I just wanted to tell my little story because it just dawned on me today. There's something that has happened to you over the last 5 years that wasn't there before, even before the pandemic, if that makes sense. And I think that, when I'm out in public, there's a mask that I wear, or I don't know. Like, I don't know. This was like the first time. But when I had my meet and greet and my birthday party, I was myself. But I'm thinking, and again, I'm a journalist. I'm thinking I prepared myself to be there. And so I left all my hang-ups, my anxieties. I hung all of that up to get the mission done, which is what I see Patel doing, putting, that traumatic and tragic thing to the side. Even though mine wasn't tragic like his, he put that to the side to get it done. And if he got to get it done through making stupid jokes, he gets it done through making stupid jokes. Where me, I just withdraw, if that makes sense. Anyway, this ain't about me, but I thought that I would share because I kind of related to it. And I was like, this is why you see people doing dumb shit, right? And you be thinking, like, why are they acting like that? Why are they doing that? Nick that petty, give a dog a bone. But there's so much to it, y'all. So anyway, let me get back to special forces. So, so when they talked to him, he responded. He opened up about that, like I said, that personal trauma, the death of his newborn daughter, which gave him some emotional depth to the scene and reinforced the mental, psychological layer of this competition. Johnny Manziel self-eliminated himself. And that was sad. And this follows prior exits, right? Medical, voluntary, boom, 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 boom. Everybody went through. One of the things that I am noticing and that I am happy about, what you saying, boo? Yes, Tamika. I'm so different. I'm so different. I'm telling you, it dawned on me, and I've been taking this class for weeks, but it's just dawned on me. You don't. At first, I was like, I'm not friendly. And my daughter was like, you're friendly. You just have anxiety. And mom, a lot of people came out of the demic with social anxiety. And you're not alone. You're not alone in this. She was like, you need to do the research, mom, to see how this has affected people. It's not just you. You know, yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, that is me. I go to meetings for work, handle my business, and then I'm out. I don't stick around to mingle because I don't have it to do. Oh my God, Tamika. But I gotta stop because I don't recognize myself. And it wasn't until today that I realized you're not yourself. Something has happened, something has broken your spirit. And the only thing that I can attribute it to is the demic. It made me a different person. And even when they say you don't have to wear, the mask and stuff, y'all, like, I still be masking up. And don't get up on me. You can walk your up on me if you want to. I still have that stay away from me, the six that like stay away from me. I still have all of that same mentality. I've not been able to break that. And when people get Americans for some reason like to be right up on you. Don't get up on me because I don't like. First of all, I have a issue with space anyway, right? With my personal space. But after the demic and through the demic, it really got bad because you had to do what they call social distancing and stuff like that. But I still social distance. And when people don't give me that same respect, you see that the person in front of me, I'm not up on them. So don't be up on me. And I will verbally tell you that. Yeah, I don't have no problem with checking your ass. Sure don't. I will just like that. I will check the out of you. So anyway, maybe we should have that conversation in the membership, Tamika. But I just wanted to share because looking at his story and how he's masking and looking at everybody's story and how they mask behind stuff, right? It's trauma, undealt with trauma, which causes anxiety. And it calls, and I think that, like my daughter said, you know, she's like, Mom, you always say that people need to give themselves grace and you need to give yourself grace. And so I am attempting to give myself grace, but I am going to journal it because I need to find out where this really did come from because it's bad. Like I said, I'm friendly. I'm not like unfriendly, but I ain't gonna be in your face, and I don't want you to be in mine. And I'm in and I'm out. I'm back at home. Um, yeah, I gotta deal with it. But anyway, so when Patel went back, I think that, when they go in there and they talk to them, I think that it helps all of them to kind of manage, and it allows them to be seen, and it allows the staff to see them and get a different perspective, because even though you may have heard rumors about somebody or maybe an article about somebody, you don't know, what the real truth is or the motivating factors behind it until you get an opportunity to talk to that person about it. And so I think that they understood him better. The other gentleman, they called him in as well. He is there with his wife, and they called him back as well. I cannot even think of his name, but he was a kicker for the NFL, and he never felt like he was worthy of his job. He didn't feel like he was even good. So he never took his job serious, basically, trashed his own career. And I was just like, wait a minute, what is going on? But his wife is an expert at everything, right? His wife, does the best that she can. Um it's just like his whole story was really sad because you work people work all their lives to get to the NFL, and then they get there and they realize that it's not all it's cut out to be, or the success of other people, right, affects the way you view success for your own life. And he was talking about how um he doesn't want to be the successful one. He wants to be in the successful team. Like, he sees things as a team effort, and that's what helps him. But it's the NFL must be hard as, thank God for being a woman, because the NFL must be hard as I don't know what, when these guys get on these teams, because what I've noticed is that the most broken people on the show are ex-football players or competitive people, right? They like really jacked up. Now, again, one of the things I really wanted to say is they have not been given a lot of airtime to Cody. And I have been so happy about that. He is a someone in the back that they are just not like they don't care nothing about Cody having 4 wives. They don't care nothing about it. He is successful in his, stuff, but they ain't got to do with Cody Brown. And I like that. But anyway, I ain't gonna hold y'all long because I want to get out here and talk about Bishop Winans and his old church debacle and just how very sick I am of church people. Or should I say, some church people. Y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. This is usually what I do in the membership, but I opened it up last week, and so I wanted to open it up again today. Y'all let me know by giving me a thumbs up if this is something you all want me to continue to do. And until we meet again, y'all be safe out there in those streets and in the water. Bye, y'all.